You guys said early in this game too. How much more challenging or different did your offense have to become when you lost all of your point guards for a game?
I think it was very difficult, but I think for us, our adjustment, especially we saw it in that fourth, is just not let the ball sit. Just keep moving, keep reversing the ball, getting it inside. So I know Sid going down early hurt us a lot and it put us kind of in a hole, but I think our fight in the fourth quarter showed exactly what we're capable of doing.
How did you guys get to that offensive reversing it in that fourth quarter? Was there a specific person or adjustment that got that all clicking for you?
I think it has started on the defensive end. We got more stops, didn't just allow them to score and take the ball out, so we were able to push transition, and I think that got our offense started a little bit more.
DeWanna, what kind of that fourth quarter you caught fire there? What was working for you?
Just shoot it at that point. We were down. Just trying to be more aggressive. Yeah, just thinking about getting some points on the board. And once I saw one go in, that kind of gave me the confidence to keep shooting.
This is not a joke question, but when you bank a shot in, does that still count as far as seeing the ball go to the basket and give you some confidence there?
I call bank.
And then early on, what do you think just defensively didn't work or wasn't clicking? And then obviously y'all turned it over and won the 16-0 win.
I don't know. I guess that's what we're gonna have to go back and watch, video. And it's hard when you keep losing people. You try to piece it together, and we came in with a one game plan, then you lose your other point guard, so you got to pivot on the fly. And we're a new team at that, so we got all these new pieces. So we were still trying to figure out when we had CC and Sid. Then you lose those two pieces, then you kind of gotta you lose CC, we regroup. Then you lose Sid, then you have to regroup. So just trying to stay together and stay positive, and get through the storm right now.
Leah, how deflating was it? You were on a roll offensively, but it seemed like foul after foul. How did that feel like it was impacting the team's offensive momentum?
Yeah, such an experience. I think that's pretty hard, especially just me wanting to be that post presence, being able to have to sit or have to kind of back off a little bit just because of how the fouls are being called. I love my money, so I'm gonna end the answer there. Yeah.
DeWanna, in the fourth quarter there, when you guys had the big run there, did you think, well, two things, it almost looked like you guys were even more fired up because you were losing players, like you got mad. I mean, was there some fire in there in that stretch? And did you think you might just blow by them and put them in the rearview mirror?
We came together as a team, and Steph said, stay together. We're being tested right now, and we got to depend on each other and use each other for energy right now. The worst thing you can do is kind of fall apart and go your separate ways at that point. You just got to try to find a way to win, a will to win, go deep, dig deep, and that's what we kind of did. And we almost pulled it out. That would have been kind of cool to, put the stamp on it, but I think more than anything, better than a win, we still showed that we're going to continue to fight right now.
One of the 15 turnovers leading to 30 points seemed like
Oh, God, that's awful.
Yeah. What do you attribute all those offensive turnovers to, and how do you correct that?
I think a lot of it is just not knowing where we need to go, first of all, and then a lot of hesitancy. What's the word? A lot of hesitancy, and just people thinking that they're going to be there, then they're not. You're going back door, you're not, and just still trying to learn each other and figure each other out is just having us throw this ball all over the court, and that's what we got to go back. And good thing we got 2 or 3 days in between this game before we face DC again, and try to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. Just gotta keep pushing.
I mean, to that point, you mentioned having to weather the storm right now. Is there a mental toll it takes, especially in that fourth quarter, as you guys just kind of keep losing bodies? I know you want to say next man up, but are you able to still kind of do that as people keep going down?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's basketball. Those things, kind of happen. Unfortunately, it's happening to us. It's better to happen now and then later on in the year because we're still so early and we can still, figure it out and adjust to it, because losing bodies like that at the end of the year, it's really hard to adjust, especially when you're in a rhythm. But good thing we're not in a rhythm right now. So still figuring it out. So it's just going back to just keep starting over every day. So that's kind of where we are. But I don't think it's deflated. It's basketball. We know how we can shift our mindset.
you come in with a game plan for the players you have available, but you lose 2 during the game.
Yeah.
How much did that shift things and lead to some of the struggles you guys had in the offensive end?
I think in the first quarter, at the end of the first quarter into the second, it was like kind of like a gut punch. And then we had to really reconfigure what we were doing on the offensive end, and it affected us in the second quarter, no doubt. Not having another primary ball handler. We take Sophie out of what she does naturally really well when she has to become a ball handler. I think it kind of punched us in the gut for a little while. But look, the reality is, like, this stuff happens. Like, we've seen it time and time again in our league, and having to find a way. We can't take 2.5 quarters to then figure it out from a toughness standpoint, from an energy standpoint. I was proud of our fight in the fourth quarter. After Sophie goes down, I was proud of our fight, but our consistency throughout the course of the game has to be better.
DeWanna was just sitting here talking about hesitancy and how it was leading to turnovers offensively, and you guys are all figuring that out. I get that. But with the injuries piling up and all that, how do you keep assessing and evaluating the process of your offense when there's so much changing all the time?
Yeah, I think offensively it makes it a little bit more difficult. We got to get creative. We got to figure out who can get us into offense. We got to figure out what actions we can run. And we're gonna have to do the same thing defensively. Honestly, and from a rotation standpoint. But that's what we do. That's our job, right? Like, we got to figure it out. We've got to get creative on both ends of the floor. But DB's absolutely right. I think many times, and you've seen it really throughout the course of early in the season, is just like unsure, hesitant on coming to the ball, moving without the ball. Am I passing it or am I not passing it? Instead of really letting it flow. Part of that's still getting to know one another. I think part of that is understanding what to get, which actions we're trying to get in the system. We got to simplify in a big way. And then we got to continue to build and grow. Look, there's no question, we're hitting adversity right now. Like, it's challenging. And it's still a great opportunity for us because it's not going to be perfect. It's early enough in the season that we've got a chance to really, I think, find a gut check moment, right? And who we're going to be through adversity. And I think our team battled. We just didn't have enough at the end.
Does it take a toll mentally at all you come into the game without Caitlin, and you lose Sydney, you lose Sophie, and just kind of feels like things are piling up on you there in the moment?
Not in the moment, it doesn't. And again, like, we've seen this time and time again in our league, right? Like, nobody feels sorry for you. We can't feel sorry for ourselves. We just have to figure it out. We've got to make sure that while it might look different, we've got to have fewer moments of breakdowns on the defensive end. We got to have fewer moments of a flurry of turnovers. We've got to have fewer moments where we come out of timeout and not executing. Those are areas we can control. We can't control the injuries. We can't control right now, who's on or off the floor, and we can figure out some different rotations. We can figure out a different way to play, but we also have to be able to control the things that we can control on the floor and still grow in those areas.
What do you think shifted for you all in that 16-0 run in the fourth quarter, and then also the last shot? Just your thoughts on the last play.
I think in the fourth quarter we just found another gear. We found another gear. As much as the Sydney injury was probably a gut punch for us, the Sophie one gave us a little bit of juice. And so we found another gear. I thought our activity level on the defensive end was really good. We stopped being hesitant. We started taking our open shots. We were aggressive to the rim. As far as the last play, it wasn't clean. We didn't get it in cleanly. I thought we were gonna, the way it was developing looked like we were gonna have a good look, but it just wasn't clean.
I guess first, is there any update on Sophie and Sydney, or like the severity of their injuries?
No update yet. Wait to hear from our training staff about where we are right now. But no, Sid was in the locker room. I didn't see Sophie after the game.
Yeah, and then on that final play too, is that what you were looking for, the 3-pointer, or what were you kind of looking for play-wise?
No, we weren't looking for a 3 necessarily. We were just looking to get a quick score. I think the 3 happened because it didn't come in cleanly, and there was a little fumble with the ball.
15 points leading to 30.
Yeah.
I mean, that seemed like the difference in the game. What stood out to you from those turnovers that piled up?
Yeah, the live ball, the unforced ones, and to DB's point, there was so much of uncertainty. Part of that is your second point guard's not on the floor, right? And now other players are playing with the ball in their hands, trying to get us into offense. So part of that's just experience and not being in that role before necessarily. For a long period of time. I mean, everybody is for a short period of time. And then I think the other part of it is just a little bit of hesitancy, coming to the ball, cutting away from the ball, reads, trying to find mismatches, sometimes overthinking. But again, I think some of that is just, we were down another point guard and lots of different players are playing out of position, so to speak.